And as usual, I'm going to wait another minute or so just to make sure everyone has a chance to fully connect. All right, good morning. I'm going to go ahead and get started with brief introductions. I'm Hearing Officer Nicole Kinsey with the Administrative Hearings Office of the State Water Resources Control Board. It is September 8th, 2023 at 9:01 in the morning. And this is really a continuation of the pre-hearing conference that we began yesterday afternoon in the court reference proceeding in the case of City Marina versus RMC Lonestar in Monterey County Superior Court, case number 20CV001387. I'm not going to do full introductions. I think we can, my full script here, I think we can carry that over from yesterday, but I will mention that assisting me today are several staff at the Administrative Hearings Office, that is Nicole Mullen and Kyle Wooldridge. I don't think it's necessary to do appearances. I just will ask, looking around the room quickly, it looks like we have maybe a more streamlined group today. But is there anyone who I'm missing who did not have a chance to introduce themselves yesterday?
As he is on mute, and I'm sure he will like to introduce himself as well, we do have Mr. David Osias that's joining us today as well.
Wonderful, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Osias, and I do see you there on my Zoom screen.
Good morning. I have to adjust my audio, sorry.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Osias. Is there anyone else who I've missed who hasn't had a chance to introduce themselves? Okay, I think where we left off yesterday, I asked the parties to meet and confer and discuss going forward with the hearing starting next week. We had been discussing the Marina Coast motion for continuance of the hearing, and then Cal-Am put forth on the table during our pre-hearing conference the withdrawal of certain elements of their phase 3 rebuttal exhibits and testimony. So I think first I'll turn to Cal-Am. There are several of you on here, so I'm not sure who to turn to, but I will turn to Cal-Am and ask maybe for an update of any developments since yesterday and from your perspective where we're at this morning.
You bet. Thank you for the opportunity. This is Michael Betts again. So unfortunately, we did not have a discussion, as Marina Coast didn't want to have a discussion, but asked us to send them in writing specifically what we're going to strike. It's our humble opinion. It was their motion and they probably should have done so. Having said that, we did work throughout the night and this morning to come up, to go through everything to see where the change in model was addressed, this very minor issue. And we're about to, although we haven't done it yet, it'll take about 5 or 10 more minutes, upload the areas where we intend to revise or strike some of the testimony, the technical memorandum, any slide changes that we have. As I said, we haven't done so. Unfortunately, parties weren't willing to talk, so we just went ahead and did it out of good faith to try to get it done. So our proposal suggestion is that we can have, as I said, I'm hoping we can upload it within 10 minutes so everybody can see what we've done, and you'll probably see there's not much. And then we can reconvene in an hour or so. And I apologize, Ms. Kinsey, we did as much as we could overnight. And then we can reconvene in an hour or so, or perhaps on Monday and then start on Tuesday. So those are our thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Betts. I will turn to Marina Coast. It looks like Mr. Brochard, you've gone off mute. So I will turn to you, Mr. Brochard, for your perspective on this.
I emailed all of Cal-Am's attorneys yesterday, shortly after the hearing. I asked if they could give us their proposal in writing, what they were intending to withdraw just generally, and a timeline of when they thought they could submit the replacement slides. And I never heard back. So this is the first time. I have as much information as you do.
Understood. So I think here I'll put out a proposal of what I'm thinking, and then we can talk through it, see if it makes sense. What I think might make sense is to meet on Monday morning. That would give Cal-Am a chance to circulate the proposed testimony that's going to be that would be, I don't even know if it's stricken, but withdrawn, essentially. And thank you. I appreciate that that has been a good deal of work and that you've been working on that. And then it would give, hopefully, the Marina Coast and the city of Marina a chance to look at that and have a thought about it, possibly this afternoon, and then we could reconvene Monday morning and check in and make sure we're ready to go forward. One of the things that had occurred to me is if we're going forward next week, but without portions of this rebuttal testimony, it may make sense to start on Tuesday morning anyway with the hearing itself with CalAm's presentation of its witnesses. So what I was thinking is that we could meet Monday morning as planned, just for purposes of kind of buttoning up this issue about what evidence is planned to be submitted for phase 3 rebuttal, and then we would actually begin with CalAm's witnesses on Tuesday morning. Maybe I will turn back to you, Mr. Betts. Do you have any comments about that proposed process?
I don't. I think that's consistent with what we thought would be a good idea. When I'm looking around at my colleagues, I don't see any vociferous objection. Well, I tried almost.
No, I just wanted to inquire if we could also argue, as I think today we're going to get the response on the new witness that was introduced at the last minute. And so that should be on Monday morning too, I would assume.
Yes, I think that is a very good idea that we can address those evidentiary issues on Monday morning as well, which will give everyone a chance to react to whatever my ruling may be on those. That makes sense to me. Thank you, Mr. Asides.
Having said that, for Monday, if I know that we're going to plan on starting at 9, if we want to start at 10 by any chance, just to give us a little time to process what we get apparently later tonight.
Yes, let's start at 10. So we're currently on the table for Monday morning at 10 a.m. Mr. Brochard, do you have any comments about or thoughts about this proposed process? Does it make sense to you?
Yes, the proposed process is fine with Marina Coast. The only thing I would ask is, do you have an idea of how long you intend to allow each of the witnesses in order to present their slides? I think in the past we've been given between 45 minutes and an hour, but just as we try and prepare those presentations, I think everybody would like to know how much time we have to make sure we're using it as efficiently as possible.
And maybe you can, because I haven't been involved, 45 minutes to an hour for each witness. Has that been the general practice?
Yes.
Yeah, technically it's been 45 minutes, and our concern is that we stick to strict timeframes, because sometimes it's gone over. We've planned accordingly. We've always stuck to our timeframes, but we'd urge that it be 45 minutes and just the 45 minutes. And same thing for cross-examination, some form of limitation.
And what has been in the past, has there been a general, if 45 minutes have been the amount, was there a corresponding amount for cross-examination that was the general target per witness?
I think it's been, the goal has been 45 minutes for the presentations. And I think every presentation generally has gone over a little bit because at some point there'll be some back and forth. So it usually goes about an hour. And I think that's a little tight. I think the parties would like a little more time on that. And then the cross-examination is usually an hour per side for the parties, I believe is what we've been doing. Unless, again, that's been flexible as long as we were being efficient and we could give an estimate of what other areas we wanted to touch on. Mr. Lilly has let each of the parties go over that on occasion.
Right. And that was, just for my clarification, that was generally 1 hour per witness, not per panel. My understanding is the cross-examination occurred to some extent by panel, at least the witnesses were both available. But the time limits were set per witness. Is that a correct understanding?
Correct.
Thank you.
And I might say that in the last round, it worked better, I thought. Following the summaries, questions from yourself and staff were asked, and then cross followed that.
Okay.
Clarification issues, etc., that made the testimony more efficient.
Thank you. Yeah, in other proceedings, I've done it the other way, but I can understand here. It's so technical. I mean, so here's what I'd like to do for the direct. I would like to stick to 45 minutes for presentation summaries of the direct testimony. We are in phase 3. I realize that they're cover different topics, but let's try to stick with 45 minutes with the understanding that, I may interrupt and have questions, and there may be an appropriate time, slight extensions of that might be allowed. I am inclined to go with 1 hour each for cross. Again, the same caveat that if the cross examination is productive, we can continue. If it's not productive, then we won't continue. But let's work towards that. And I see your hand, Mr. Wilkins, so I'm sorry, I haven't. Maybe what we'll do is let's turn to you, Mr. Wilkins, and then I will look to the room about other issues that we need to address.
So just for clarification, there was no refusal to meet and confer orally, but the one thing, since we did not meet and confer orally, and have not seen the proposal, the one thing I wanted to make clear is that we are going to have to adjust our slides slightly. And because we have some slides that address the new model, so we will also need to adjust our slides and put in a new slide deck for our witnesses. Again, I don't view them as being as extensive as what CalAm is doing, but we did have some references to it. So we will, I assume, submit new slide decks at the same time CalAm submits their new slide decks, which I guess we will figure out what that is at some point today.
Yes.
So just, that does give rise to concern. And we have had a theme of, although we haven't been asking for continuances, the like, that we get stuff at the last minute and we haven't got data. I'm trusting if they're altering their slides, they're just deleting things rather than adding things. I just want to flag that as an issue.
Well, let's talk through this. So here, and I want to see what's, reasonable. I know we're all on tight deadlines, but what's reasonable? It sounds, Mr. Betts, maybe can you clarify for me with the revised testimony that you plan to submit either it sounds like in short order. Does that include the revised slide decks as well? I
believe so, yes. Mr. Osias will confirm, but yes, that's correct.
So, Mr. Wilkins, based on that, would it be possible, do you think, for your client for you to revise your slide decks by the end of the day, so that you could have those revised slide decks in by the end of the day, and CalAm would have a chance to see those before we convene at 10 a.m. at 10 a.m. on Monday morning?
I think that's likely possible. Our experts are, I just have to confer that they're available, but I believe they are, and they're not on the phone today, so I don't know that, but I don't see a problem with that. I will email if there is a problem doing so.
So that would be what I'd like to do is set a deadline for if it's possible, Mr. Betts, to get your revised exhibits and slides in so that it's apparent what exactly is being stricken, and then Marina Coast can submit their revised slide deck by 5 p.m. today. That way we all have a chance to take a look at it, and if there are any concerns or issues with that, we can address those at 10 a.m. on Monday morning. I don't know if City of Marina also needs to have revisions, but it would be the same. I would impose the same deadline of 5 p.m. today.
I don't anticipate that we're going to need to make changes, but we'll take a look at it. And if there are any, we'll have them in by 5.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Meisenheimer. With all of those notes, are there other issues we should address now before we break until 10 a.m. on Monday? And again, I just want to clarify that the intent would be to meet at 10 a.m. on Monday and address any outstanding procedural issues, and then convene begin the hearing substantively 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. So you can plan with your experts accordingly.
I have just one personal request relating to next week, which
Yes,
is if
please.
we could conclude on Friday by 4 p.m. or excuse me at 4 p.m. I need to leave for a family dinner for the Jewish holiday that starts at sunset.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mr. Osias. I will commit that we will close by Friday at 4 p.m. I think we all will be grateful for that deadline if we don't meet it
Thank you.
before that. Thank you very much.
And then we will finish within this year.
Is there anything else? I'm looking to the room before we close out for today. And thank you, all of you, for meeting again on short notice this morning. All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will expect to see those submittals from you today, and I will see all of you once again at 10 o'clock on Monday morning. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.